Hey everyone, episode 14.
I like how you started it. Like this.
Episode 14.
Episode 14 it is. This time we'll be talking about workplace productivity strategies. If you're new here, we usually start off with some weird news from the internet, and then we talk about some subtopics, and then we get to the main one. So if you just want to see the main one, you can skip ahead.
Fair.
But we prefer you didn't, because we like people watching the work we put into the other stuff.
Right, what do you have on your weird news?
On my weird news, let me just open up my notes here. This one's pretty fun. So Lily Allen recently was on an interview. You know about the musician Lily Allen?
Yes.
All right. She said she earns more money from feet pics on OnlyFans than Spotify.
What?
Wild statement, but I love that she said this. Spotify gives people barely anything for anything. I remember Weird Al was also making fun of them because he's put all his Spotify earnings of the year, and he's like, I bought this sandwich.
Man, it's so sad. I've seen as well that people get for 1,000 views like 2 cents.
Yeah, and they've recently started this thing where I don't know if they've started it yet, but it was announced that if you get below 10,000, you can't procure that money yet.
Whoa!
And I imagine this is because there's a lot of AI trash on Spotify that's just like kind of like other songs. And some people are gaming the system to use that. I think we talked about it on a previous episode. There was this guy who was just uploading hundreds and hundreds of AI songs a day, and then using a bot to have to get views on it and earning money back.
And you get referred, it's like, hey, this is on your liked, or it gets pushed by the algorithm, and it's all fake AI music.
Yep, and sometimes it's just bots listening to the music. So dead internet theory strikes again.
Here you go. I was right. It's all bots.
Come at us, Spotify.
Come out of Spotify. Show me what you got.
But yeah, in the random person's tweet, they wrote, imagine being one of the biggest pop stars and musicians in Europe and then being reduced to this. So basically the feet pics.
I can totally believe that. On my side of news, I have on a topic that you really love, when an AI becomes a crypto millionaire. And it's obviously a combination of two of my favorite things, which is AI and crypto. So basically, back in the days where the LLM systems, I think it was 2016, a guy created an LLM system and connected it to Twitter. So all it did, it basically got obsessed. So LLM got trained into liking a topic, and it got obsessed with Goatsy. If anyone is long enough on the internet and knows that website, go in incognito mode and Google it and see what you're going to get. And basically, this AI model got obsessed with Goatsy, and it started managing a Twitter account, and it created or came up with the idea to create a goat crypto coin. And what it did as well, people created a crypto coin that is actually called Godius Maximus. And they started negotiating with this Twitter account, which is an LLM system, and it linked a crypto wallet, and people started sending this AI into its crypto wallets, the Godius Maximus coins. And because of that, it gained traction, and it basically grew into, let me see, I think it was, like 800 million market cap or something like that. 500 million market cap. And when someone checked the wallet balance of this LLM model on Twitter, it had over $1 million in dollars. And there was a hypothesis that there will be an AI that will earn $1 million itself. And this has actually happened, where this LLM model, based on this AI meme coin, or like owns 1 million, and it's just fake. Like, we don't know if this wallet can be accessible by this bottle.
Fascinating. Fake people buying fake money.
Oh my god. It's like we spoke about this AI chat where you're the main character last time. This is it. So now, basically, AI models are crypto millionaires based on Twitter memes.
I'm going to have to express some skepticism about this one. I feel like it's too nice a story. I feel like there's somebody behind it who's managing the AI, and it's not as automated as it sounds. Like, it makes for a fantastic sci-fi premise, but it feels too on the nose.
I mean, yes, but I think the guy, he went public with this. Let me see. The guy's name is Andy, and he developed this chats where, again, these LLMs were talking, and he just connected it to Twitter. Remember, a very long time ago, someone connected a AI, I think it was also on, like an early LLM on Twitter, and it became like super racist in 3 hours, and they had to shut it down. So I think that it is maybe not as fake.
Yeah, but the crypto wallet part is a bit sketchy.
It just generated one, but which I agree. How would it do that?
Yeah. So take this story with a grain of salt, if anyone's.
But I still find this fantastic where some AI model got obsessed with the meme and basically started tweeting every day about it. And then someone, which is some person, created this Godius Maximus meme coin, and people thought that it's related.
Yeah. That's a fascinating story. What a time to be alive.
I love it.
So, one serious piece of news, though. A whole bunch of Washington Post staff are rebelling against the Washington Post right now.
I haven't heard anything about it.
They fired the editor-at-large because the Washington Post used to, for the past 50 years or so, make a assessment and endorsement of one of the presidential candidates. And some of the bigwigs at the Washington Post axed that. They said this year you're not allowed to do that. Yeah,
have you seen it? Yes, I've seen this news.
So the editor at large just quit, and everyone was told, well, we're not doing that. But the humor columnist put in an endorsement in like a joking article, and she endorsed Harris. And the Washington Post cartoonist drew basically a black block instead of the cartoon and wrote "Democracy Dies in the Darkness" above it.
Wow.
And "Democracy Dies in the Dark," by the way, is the slogan of the Washington Post. They've been very proud of that. Again, this is a prestige paper, and the Washington Post were, if anybody recalls, were the people who broke the Watergate scandal. So Woodward and Bernstein worked at the Post at that time. So this is frankly a lot of censorship on part of supposedly Jeff Bezos.
Isn't it when you decide that you're not going to take part of anything, you're like, oh, I'm going to stay on the sidelines, you actually already tell a little bit more than you should?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, there's an acquiescence towards the Trump campaign from the New York Times and the Washington Post this year that wasn't there in 2016. There was this real feeling of, let's not antagonize these people because they're, a lot more likely to come after you.
Yeah, but now I think the whole democracy in US is very weird. I started watching this YouTube channel where a guy has a goal of traveling. I'm like episode 7 or something. The guy said, I'm traveling through US with no money and no place to stay. So they basically, 2 guys hitchhike the whole US and they ask people, say, hey, can I stay at your home? Hey, can you give me some money? They have money. They're bloggers. They donate as they go. They meet all different kind of people with different stories, and they even give them money. So like, oh, your life story touched us. Here's $500. And they met one guy that they did it for, the second guy. But their whole message is that we are losing the honesty and the connection with people, and that is due to media dividing us. So while they're traveling, they're telling this, like narratives, like it's all about connection. And when they ask people, why did you take me to your place to stay? Why did you give me money? So they obviously ask them as well. And a lot of them say, we think that US is becoming more divided, that it should be, and that the media ruins everything and makes everyone think there's no trust, there's no honesty, that people are angry and divided, families are being ruined because of political views. And these guys, they say, well, but it shouldn't matter what I believe in, as long as we're all, people and we want to help each other and we're all going to be on the same page. So very, very cool YouTube series that they have. It's just basically traveling through America in 30 days with no money and no place to stay. Now I think that I stopped on like day 14, and they always had a place to stay, and they have money like to basically survive, to like eat. So super cool as well, like channel. So go watch it.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. I mean, this isn't really a politics show, so we're not going to dive deeper into that that story. But that's a cool shout out for a YouTube channel.
I have another really funny piece of news. Have you ever heard of a combo conspiracy theory?
I have not.
Combo conspiracy theory is pretty much that not a single conspiracy theory lives alone or isolated. That means that every conspiracy theory, for example, flat Earth. So flat Earth conspiracy actually takes a little bit of inspiration of a super Earth conspiracy that also takes a little bit of inspiration from that the world is a big ice block. And on this very large ice block, there are flat Earths or worlds that are located on it, and they're huge. So therefore, the theory basically says that multi-theory amalgamation, so this is an example, illustrates the tendency for layered theories to evolve, appealing to those seeking complex explanations. Because when you ask some critical question to conspiracy theories, they cannot never answer things normally, so they basically get inspired by another theory and another conspiracy theory, which creates this combo conspiracy theory that never ends. And I was watching as well this guy who was obviously mocking the flat Earth people, and that's and then the flat Earth people who cannot take the inspiration from the wall around the world theory, so that the world has like a wall somewhere, or like a you can fall off of the edge of the world. They all beef online whose conspiracy theory is correct, and there's a third party that is being born, which is like the ones that believe in the combo conspiracy theories. I just went down this rabbit hole. I'm like, I'm not gonna get out of this.
No, it's an interesting idea. I don't know who proposed this original term, but that's very similar to what was called the cultic milieu.
Never heard about it.
This is that conspiracy theories often like coalesce and become like their own big belief system full of other tinier conspiracy theories.
Sounds very familiar.
Yeah, and that's what I thought of. That's what I thought where this was going, and they become a sort of culture and a sort of secret way of talking among certain people, and they develop into like small little cults.
Can you give an example?
Ooh, QAnon is a big example.
Which one?
QAnon?
Oh, QAnon, yeah.
So these QAnon people, they believe a lot of very similar things about the world, and then they start like one person gets introduced, for example, through a conspiracy about how the media is covering something up. Another person gets in through a conspiracy about the world being flat, for example. By the way, Dan Olson from Folding Ideas has this amazing documentary about flat Earth. And he charted the trajectory, and he said a lot of flat earthers became QAnon people. And then they suddenly start believing all of the stuff the QAnon people believe, and they start passing flat earth ideas into the QAnon circle.
So it's like a collection of weird beliefs, and they kind of put like an umbrella term of it, like QAnon, everything that is a conspiracy theory, we have it here.
Yeah. And a lot of people in QAnon, for example, believe that JFK Jr. is still alive, and he's actually Q, either of QAnon thing. So those people got introduced into QAnon from that angle. So and it suddenly starts forming into a giant mass called the cultic milieu.
Wow. Well, it's totally is a combo conspiracy theory. Maybe this is more a simplified way of explaining this.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I've seen, I'm not going to remember now, but I've seen the Flat Earth documentary as well, where the guy just basically follows this group of people who spend a lot of money on like, if you buy this device will tell you the Earth is flat. If it's not flat, then a device costs like $70,000.
The gyroscope.
The gyroscope, yeah. They're like, oh, the first gyroscope we bought, we think it's false because it shows what we don't believe in, and then they bought a second one. which actually had the same exact results. And then they also measured with light. Is it the same documentary where they're, oh my God. So they measured with how the light is bending over after like some kilometers. And I love the ending of this documentary where they're like, if the light pops through this hole, then that means that the earth is not flat, and it pops. And it's like, the guy turns to the camera and goes, oh,
It cuts to black. I've seen that one. Yeah, those are really good because the documentary about conspiracy theories, and one of the things it made very clear was the belief itself isn't quite as important as the sense of community they get from being part of this community.
absolutely. I think there's a whole documentary on Netflix somewhere about like top 10 conspiracy theories and what they have in common. And they basically review all these cult leaders. I think it was about cults. Sorry. It's like top 10 cults in the US. And they review these cultists and what they have in common. And there's like, oh, they have confidence. They have like a logical and emotional story, but it's all about, the community they build around it.
To this day, I think the best movie about cults is actually Fight Club.
That's a little one.
Because it starts off as just this guy's frustrations, and then he starts fighting. And then suddenly all these other frustrated dudes find common ground. And that's a perfect explanation of cultic milieu, by the way. How these other beliefs start getting integrated into the entire structure of this organization that they set up.
I never thought about Fight Club being a cult, but now it totally makes sense to me.
It's not explicitly, but I think it is the perfect explanation of like those hyper online communities, how they develop around, like, for example, hating a single figure or something like that.
But it's also an echo chamber, and a lot of times they get together, they hate on something, and then they have something in common to connect, and then it just evolves from there.
Yeah, and then they start feeding each other's ideas. And it ends up becoming a monoculture of some sort.
Welcome to Reddit. Every subreddit is an echo chamber.
I was going to go with 4chan.
That too. That is a different level of cult. I have another cool news. It's about a license plate trick. Last time I spoke about the bank hack, where the people were scamming themselves, and now the license plate bug that the guy wanted to exploit. So a guy, he thought he's a developer. He thought that he's very, very smart.
Yeah.
He's a man basically tried to avoid traffic tickets by so he bought his own license plate and he called it null. So NULL. So this is basically a response from a lot of software that says no record, right? So he's like, oh, so if someone sees in the system, it says null, they're going to say, oh, it's an error, and I'm not going to give this guy a ticket. So, but what actually happened, the consequence was that because a lot of errors were popping up and his record was actually recorded and not an error, every time there was an error in the system and it said null, he got a fine. So he basically got $122,000 in fines because of this duplication of null that was popping up. And this fine, like, he had to fight it. So he thought, oh, I'm going to get no tickets. But in reality, he was getting all the tickets that had an error in it.
That is amazing. When you try to outsmart the system finds a way to mess you up anyway.
But he's a developer, so he had a very genius idea. He's like, oh, I'm going to make it null, therefore they're going to think it's an error, I'm not going to get any ticket. But then every error that was popping up, his address was probably there. Maybe it's like some automated system, and he was getting all the fines.
Yeah. Well, I have slightly more disturbed news, I guess.
Why are you such a negative note today?
I don't know. This struck me, and it was something I wanted to talk about because on the negative Nancy about all the AI stuff.
Tell me.
Anyway, law enforcement cracking down on creators of AI generated CSAM.
What is that?
Oh, child abuse images.
Gotcha.
That kind. Yeah. Starts with an S.
Gotcha.
But yeah, there's this entire plague of AI generated images of children, and because a lot of people looking for that stuff can't readily, for good reasons, find it, they're generating it.
Yeah.
And some of this is just weird trolling from weird communities online. But yeah, the Justice Department says existing federal laws clearly apply to such content, and recently brought what's believed to be the first federal case involving purely AI-generated imagery. And a lot of the children being a lot of that material is one illegal, but also some of it involves actual real kids, and their pictures being manipulated.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, oblique.
Yeah, but this is where the lines are getting a little bit blurry, where you say this is AI generated, this is not real, and then in the legislation or the rules, there's a lot of stuff that is not defined, right? Like what is legal, what is not. So I've seen, actually, I tried to visit a few websites. Well, I was at work, and I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do? So I was like on a company network, and we got a list with different kind of AI generations, and some of them have a so how's it called when you cannot show stuff? So it's basically not possible to see, right? So it has like a blurred out lines of what's legal, what's illegal. So they now have two lists. One is legal AIs, and another one is AI without a filter. So you can actually log in and do any kind of generation without any filtering. So for example, this, and a lot of people who are into board games and AI, like into world generation, and they need, let's say, a world to build, for example, a tabletop. If you have Dungeons and Dragons, or you have Magic the Gathering, they have to build a world around it, and sometimes they use AI to generate that world for them and those scenarios and those monsters and images. So and they use that to build their world. And these guys, who are these tabletop nerds, they also started generating these a little bit of weird, worlds where a lot of stuff, what you said, is now legal to generate, but there are models there that are uncensored. That's the word. So they are not censored at all.
Yeah. Over here in this story, it basically, there are like 4,000 counts.
Oh,
And those are the ones that are reported.
you can generate infinitely.
Yep. Yeah. But this is one of the misuses that a lot of people are citing. But deepfakes have always existed.
Yeah.
It's just the AI has made it easier to make them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it takes no skill now.
That's also true because the bar is lowered. If you wanted to generate something before, you really had to be skilled in Photoshop or some sort of editing. And now you just drag and drop a picture and you're like, do this with it. And obviously it just does anything you want. You can regenerate. And if you have a stronger computer, even, you can do that at home. So you don't need because a lot of tools right now on GitHub, you can just download them and run it on your local computer.
We were relying on horrible people not having the skills.
Yeah,
but no.
That's how TikTok exploded. Did you know that? Because before, if you really wanted to be a content creator, you had to know editing, for a podcast, audio editing, production. You had to have a very strong computer. And now you're like, you know what? TikTok gets all the editing for you. Every camera now is a very high quality camera, so you don't need a very expensive equipment. So like we're filming everything as well right now on mobile phones pretty much, and the quality is like 8,000. So now the bar is so lowered for content creation. That's why TikTok exploded. But now with the AI, the bar is also very low. So I totally see how this is becoming an issue.
Right. Well, now that I've sufficiently ruined the mood, let's get to the main topic.
Yes.
All right. What do you got for me?
I have a definition of what the productive workspace is.
I always forget to, but you remember.
Yes.
This is why we're a good team.
Productive workspace strategies are basically methods and practices that organizations employ to enhance efficiency, effectiveness, overall productivity within the workspace. These strategies, they're designed to optimize employee performance, streamline operations, and create environments conductive to focus, collaborate, and innovate. And from my side, I also thought about it because you usually, when you think about productive workspace strategies or just productive workspaces, no one ever thinks of separating into two, like combining two parts. There's a psychological and there's also a physical. And when it comes to psychological and physical, it's not only the environment you work at, it also is like physical environments. If you're sitting somewhere in a loud place, or it's, super cold or super hot or very noisy, that also affects your productivity on the physical side, like physical discomfort. And then you have the other side, which is software, culture, toxicity, management. So this is how I divided this, and I basically wrote down 10 examples and important strategies and how to implement them. So for some of them, I wrote for myself that efficient processes and workflows. So streamlining tasks, automating things. Now, because the productivity is going up like crazy, you can actually automate a lot of processes within the organization using the technology to like repetitive tasks. For example, we need to publish a podcast every Monday. So then you can schedule it 3 weeks in advance and it publishes it. Is that helpful? Is it productive? Yes. Is it a workspace kind of workplace strategy of productivity? Also, yes. Leveraging technology and tools. So again, productivity software, communication platforms. Some companies, they use only email, which is very slow. Other companies, they use a combination. And some companies, which agencies, which I don't like, they use everything. Let's be on Telegram, let's be on WhatsApp, let's be on Slack, let's be on Teams, let's be on email. Like, oh my God, this is really not helping.
Yeah, I hate that. I like being one place where all communication come in. At least my work, we use Asana a lot, and that's so good for me. I don't think I would be able to work in like the 90s when you had to schedule everything by hand with paper. I'd do ADHD brain to ever be able to work in a non-digital environment, but having a scheduling software like that is so handy.
There's software that actually combines all your communications. I think it's a Chrome. No, it was Opera browser. And there you can plug in your Messenger, your WhatsApp, your Slack, your Teams, or whatever. So then you're like, I have my messaging window, and then all the chats are integrated in there. So maybe that's what you need.
Probably, yeah. But I'm terrified that I'll say one thing in one chat that wasn't supposed to go to all the others.
No, I think it's separated, but yeah, it's. I think it's pretty cool.
That would give me different kinds of anxiety.
The other one I have is engagement and well-being. So motivation programs. So implementing recognition and reward systems within companies. So for example, hey, we did a very good job this year. Let's look forward to a ski trip, for example. So you have these motivational programs where you can get together, especially for remote teams. Another one is work-life balance. So offering flexible working hours to remote work options, and also maybe accommodate some sort of needs. And this is something I think organizations, they do well. However, I think they do not really push it that well. They offer, but they don't do it, which is, oh, you want to work from home? We're going to bring you a desk, a table, a screen, a keyboard, a chair. That is great. But they also sometimes just have, a stock of the same chairs that don't fit anywhere. And they say, hey, can I have a smaller desk? No. Hey, can I have a different chair? No. So they say that they sometimes offer these like tiny things, but they don't. Another one, that employee kind of engagement and well-being, they offer like mental health support programs and physical well-being through wellness programs. Say, hey, you can sign up for a gym and it's going to be a discount or free. What they don't do, they don't have enough time for people to go there. It's like, oh, we're going to give you a discount. You can go to this one location, this one gym that is 70 kilometers away from your house, but we have a wellness program. Great. Which no one's going to use because it's super uncomfortable and far away. Another one I have is optimizing the work environments. And this is more on the physical side, where you have ergonomic designs of spaces. This is something I learned. It's called biophilic elements. So incorporating natural elements like plants to improve mood and productivity. And the last one is dedicated spaces, or creating areas of focused work, collaborative work, and kind of different task requirements. For me, this one is actually probably the most important one. When I work from home, I love it because it's silence. I can just lock the door and after 9 hours, crawl out of it and say, I did my job, just lock the door behind, and I leave all the problems behind a closed door. And I have plants in there. I have a nice chair in there. So this is where if my home work environment is much more comfortable than the office, I will never go there.
Yeah. I mean, work from home for me gets a bit tiresome at some point.
Yeah? What gets it? What from this productivity and workspace strategies you feel is like on your lists?
Most of these are on my list. Yeah. But I like the balance of going to work and working from home.
Is it more like a business of the social environment?
Yeah. I'm, you know me, I'm extremely extroverted. So what happens is I generally get very on a downer if I spend the entire time in my room.
Yes, I have that sometimes, but then when you're on 7 calls a day, I think my social battery is oh yeah, that's true because we have a little bit of a different work as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, because I'm on calls the whole day, I'm definitely not looking forward to also being surrounded by 100 people sometimes.
Yeah. Either way, though, those were all good points, and I'd like to see how many of those are implemented at the workplaces I'm going to mention next, because there's a world's best workplaces index.
Yeah. Oh, I never heard about that.
Yeah, so there's this is from the 2023 rankings, and 2024 should be around the corner anyway. The index, I mean, the year is coming to a close. They better hurry up. So yeah, the number one best workplace was apparently Hilton.
What?
Yeah. I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're really cool.
I mean, it's the hotel chain.
Yeah.
Wow. Why do you think it is?
I have no clue what they're doing, but apparently people are really happy there.
I used to work as a marketing manager in the hotel industry for a little bit, and I think it's the perks, because then they say, hey, if you're an employee of Hilton, you can travel to any country, you can get 80% off on your stay. You can get all these like internal bonuses on like flight discounts, because they have a lot of partnerships with, travel agencies and stuff like that. So there's a lot of internal perks. And maybe right now, because everyone's into like experiences and traveling the world and stuff like that, Hilton might be really chipping into the travel industry.
Yeah,
Discounts.
according to this page from the Hilton's own website, they provide best-in-class benefits to both hourly and salaried team members, including expanded parental leave, adoption assistance, and travel benefits.
Oh, that's the one I mentioned.
Yep.
Because that's the one I was very interested in.
They also have a program that provides 500,000 in scholarships.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So, like, if you want to work in the hotel industry, they just trade you.
Yeah.
And actually, that's one of my other points, which is continuous learning and development. So, training programs and knowledge sharing programs, offering opportunities to develop their skills and career achievements and advancements, and also promoting the culture where information and expertise is shared openly. That really ties into even one of my points.
Yep.
Was the second place.
DHL.
What? DHL is the best working place?
Apparently, people working there really like it. So I was looking at the testimonials on their website to sort of get an idea of this. And one of them I found was like, as an environmentalist working for DHL Group, I've been questioned by my family and friends. When I explain what we are trying to do in trying to achieve zero emissions, they are impressed. So they really do emphasize employees can put in like these initiatives that are based on their personal interests. So this they put in like 250 trees as part of a zero waste community garden, for example. And I guess they really do care about employee feedback if that's if this guy's ideas were taken into account.
But they are a people business, right? Because it's all logistics. You cannot do logistics without people. So it totally makes sense that they have to, have the freedom maybe to contribute to it. Yeah, every DHL guy that comes to my door is never happy.
Yeah, I imagine this is mostly about the salaried workers inside the logistics side rather than
On the corporate side rather than on the ground.
operational. How you collect this information matters so much.
Yeah, because it's top 10 working places index, and then it's like everyone who works at our corporate office in this one building.
They were the only ones surveyed.
Probably, yeah.
They're like, I don't get the big deal. I'm paid $500K a month.
Oh my god. Now I feel pissed. Who's the third one?
Cisco.
A security company, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think they're a cybersecurity company and training for like white hats.
This is hybrid workplace solutions as well.
Oh yeah, right. They also have a software that they allow to like log in into workplaces.
I don't know about the cybersecurity stuff, but I think that goes hand in hand. But they were pretty much, yeah. They were doing really well on this index. People were really happy there.
I know that you can get from Cisco a lot of certifications for cybersecurity, and their certifications are world recognized. So it's probably 90%, I'm speculating here, 90% of IT people who work remote. So,
And tying into what you were talking about earlier, one of the first resources I found out is 82% of employees say the ability to work from anywhere has made them happier.
here's this go.
At Cisco.
Here you go. I knew it. Like just by what the business that they do. No, this is so funny.
It also says they save about 8,000 US dollars a year just because they're working from home.
Yeah, totally. I can totally relate to that.
6 in 10 employees say productivity and quality of work have improved. Only 1 in 4 employees feel their organization is very prepared for hybrid working.
This is a great example of data-driven decision-making on the company side. And this is as well one of my points I did not read yet. It's performance metrics and feedback analysis. So using KPIs to monitor productivity levels and basically gathering and analyzing employee feedback to improve strategies. So if everyone says, I love working from home, and I don't see a decrease in, let's say, revenue, because a lot of companies, they start stressing out if like, oh, revenue is down. It's probably because of these guys working remote. So there's just no trust in employees, and they try to attract to Amazon. They try to get everyone back into the office, so they have like a tighter grip to get the revenue up, but it stresses people out. It doesn't give them the flexibility. They have to commute to work. So people underestimate how much trust, it matters, and working remote and how much motivation it gives. But they don't have a lot of data-driven, basically, they don't use data to analyze if this is going to actually affect any productivity.
Yep. So this is from Forbes, and they're saying essentially Cisco manages this through something called their initiative called Our People Deal. Essentially, Our People Deal is the promise Cisco makes to employees and what it asks from them in return, a Magna Carta of sorts. The deal is broken into 3 components. First, connect everything. Cisco promises to connect its employees with personnel information, and opportunities. I misspoke there. While it asks its employees to connect with each other to deliver positive outcomes for the company. Basically, all this serves to foster a team and customer culture rather than only an individual culture. Second component is innovate everywhere. In turn, Cisco asks its employees to relentlessly pursue innovation, blah, blah, blah. A lot of corporate speak there, but yeah. They have a really good charter with some give and take. It's not just, you got to do this for us, but it's also generally, we will supply you with this.
Mm-hmm. This really blends in very well where during COVID, when, I don't know, all the companies went remote pretty much, and everyone was bragging how they have not, like the working remotes did not affect any revenue and any productivity. And now when, we're not, let's say, on lockdown, they suddenly have a switch of mind when they say, oh, it's all because of these remote workers, the productivity is going down, which they don't take into consideration sometimes the economic situation, right? They don't take into consideration, I don't know, productivity go up, salaries go down, rates, or they don't go up fast enough. So again, this is a situation where it's a great example where you have to use data-driven kind of decision-making processes and operations and learn from your employees and give them the power and the flexibility. Yeah, people underestimate, companies or CEOs or board of directors underestimate how important it is to give that flexibility to their employees. Bonkers.
Yeah. A lot of these companies have robust physical and mental health programs.
Which I feel if you use, you get a little star next to your name. It's like, Alex used this mental program. Let's talk about that for his next performance review.
That's an interesting thing you raised. You've worked at a company with those, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It feels like it became a box ticking thing for managers, where they kind of go, "Oh, all the most successful companies have this, so we should have it," and then it's just like the most bare minimum kind of thing.
That's true. They just do it for the sake of to brag on their blog sections. Like, we do this. We're the best place to work. Everyday chill person I met is not really happy with doorstep, even though you tick all the boxes.
They have to drive to warm over here, you know. Also,
They live on the edge of the world.
but that aside, some other companies on this list that are worth noting, Deloitte is on there.
All right, it's the technical consultancy. That's what they do a lot.
Salesforce is there.
I can see that IT company. Yes, trading. They do a lot of trading
Accenture is there.
as well. It's a consultancy. A lot of banking.
Google. Nvidia is at number 19.
Don't believe this.
I imagine everyone at their corporate offices is very happy since they're selling some GPUs these days.
And they're very happy because their stonks are very high. That's probably only a board of directors was to serve it in this case.
It would be interesting to see if they stay on in the next 2 years.
That's true.
Because the stock plunged a little while back.
Man, no, they're up like 400% this year. I don't know.
And they were like, people were selling the stocks expecting something.
Uh-huh.
I think it was in the wake of Apple not investing in AI.
I think so. Yeah. I like basically the shortage of microchips and Nvidia also really investing into hardware AI. So basically that the hardware itself has an AI functionality programmed in it. So this is a great innovation story. And yeah, this is stonks go up. Everyone's happy. Company is the only one that actually has access to microchips and it's selling it around the world. So it's like a monopoly. So everyone who's sitting on the money, I can totally see that. But when it comes to just, working culture, I'm not sure that this is absolutely honest, only due to the fact that those people are probably overworked as hell.
Yeah.
Just like gaming companies. I'm curious if there are any gaming companies. Go ahead, just down the way.
I don't see any. Honestly.
Who's next?
Skipping around the list. Anyone else of note? I say, you heard about this company, Cadence?
No.
Yeah, it's an electronics company. They're down there. Salesforce is in there, I think I mentioned.
Yeah, you mentioned Salesforce.
I'm just reminded, every time I hear about Salesforce, I'm just reminded about the joke where people are like, what does Salesforce do?
So, no idea.
And nobody has any idea.
So it's CRM, but they do a lot of trainings. That's what I know. So it's one of the biggest companies next to HubSpot.
Okay, this is an interesting one. Bacardi is on the list.
I don't want to make jokes about it, but I want.
I mean, I like how they categorize them. They categorize them as manufacturing and production,
which is part of the whole thing.
That's not false.
Well, when an alcohol company is the best company to work at, I can see why. I had a friend who worked in Lithuania in a Lithuanian beer production company, and he also loved his job. And I asked him why. He's like, "Well, I get free beer anytime, all the time." And I asked him, say, how much free? He said, sometimes they say, hey, our stock has a lot of beer that is not being sold, and we had to like clear out the warehouse. So he would have like 30, 50 liter gallons that he had to take home. So he would take like 50 liters of beer home, and he would invite all his friends. He's like, oh, we have to drink this because this is going to spoil in like 3 months. Or like the date is going to be basically the spoiling date. So everyone had to drink that.
Yeah, but one of the first things I was looking up when researching why Bacardi is a good place to work, the first thing that showed up was their emphasis on camaraderie and having fun.
I totally see that.
So I imagine they throw great parties.
Yeah, it's also, I worked a little bit with Moet, their champagne, or like sparkling wine, I think champagne company. What they did, their whole marketing, because I'm on the marketing side, their whole marketing was consistently on like exclusive parties, closed events, celebrity parties. So anytime you work on a marketing department, you know what I'm going to throw? A huge ass party where it's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of alcohol, and I'm going to be invited there. So the whole working culture was indeed about, look at this cool parties we're throwing.
Yeah. I mean, I've been to a few really cool workplace parties, and the people there are who work there are not that happy, but the parties are awesome.
This is where actually blends into optimizing the work environment. So was it employee engagement, right? Motivation programs,
Yeah.
health initiatives.
This is really fun. You'll love this. You'll instantly want to work for Bacardi after hearing this.
Tell me.
They introduced summer Fridays, and they have a no meetings policy on them.
Love it.
So yeah, you can't schedule any serious meetings on Fridays.
I see why. And they probably start drinking at lunchtime.
Oh yeah.
I used to work in an agency where when they had their celebration, like year celebration, I think it was a Friday, you walk into the office and they don't allow you in the morning unless you take a shot of tequila and like to get a piece of cake. So you literally walk in on a Friday at 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning. They're like, today's our birthday. I think they were 18. They're turning 18. So like now we're 18. Everyone has to drink. So everyone to enter the job place, they had to take a shot of tequila. So, which is what, as well, it connects a little bit. I think it brings that culture of, well, it was a little bit of a hustle culture, but it brings people together as well to tell around. So, oh, look, our place has this crazy stuff that they do.
Yeah. So a common thread with a lot of these companies that I was looking at is they always well, every company talks about fostering inclusivity and so on.
Yeah, employee satisfaction improvements and sort.
Yeah. And but these companies actually have it written in stone rather than just putting a LinkedIn post once in a while being like, we're an inclusive workplace.
Yeah, that's true.
So look for that if you're looking for a job. Look for somebody who has it written in their guidelines.
I absolutely agree with you. And to kind of wrap it up, I have a few kind of why strategies like this are important. So like, why is it important to enhance efficiency, improve employee satisfaction, boost innovation, because you don't want to work in a boomer company, increase profitability, obviously, because when the numbers go up, there are more parties. However, sometimes, CEOs have to maybe lower their salaries a little bit for this one. And it's basically very good, tactic for any organization, even if it's a small one. If it's a big one, all big ones, it's a little bit more still corporate and complex to do, but you have to bring people together. So you have to assess the current productivity levels and see what are the opportunities there. You also have to set clear objectives. And also, if you promise deliver, for example, remote work doesn't affect our productivity or revenue. And then when shit hits the fan, everyone suddenly starts getting rid of the remote work policy. They don't engage with their employees, so they don't involve the staff into kind of planning, like you said in DHL, right? They involve their staff into opportunities of planting trees. So they have they can create any initiative they want. So I think engaging with the employees is important. And my last one is basically monitor and adjust. I think if you don't have the numbers if it's not an ego of a CEO who's like, everyone go back to the office, that's just my trigger. If you don't have the numbers and you don't ask everyone around what they think about it, I think it's a shit company to work at.
Yeah. You've worked at a lot of places.
Yes. And I have a very, very good comparison into what matters to me. As for some, obviously, you have these parent day, right, where they can just take a day off and they don't get a hit on their salary. But then me, who's not a parent, why can't I have a day off? Do you think I don't need a day off? Or something like that. Flexibility on the workspace. I don't like when people promote it or companies promote it, but when you walk in and then like you realize that was a bag of bullshit and you cannot really work in a flexible manner, or the work itself doesn't accommodate. They say they are allowing this, but actual work is impossible to do that. And then they kind of bash you for it. Or where you use mental programs, they put a star next to your name that you use that, and that's all used against you. So it has to be you have to believe in what you preach.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a given for any good workplace. But I mean, having worked with tons of clients in my life, the worst ones are always the micromanagers.
Yes, absolutely.
Why'd you hire me? Do it yourself. But if you want to get this granular about my work,
that's true. It's like, well, I could do it better. Well, then go and do it.
That's a massive productivity drain, and you can tell a client is not doesn't have much work for themselves if they're constantly micromanaging you.
That's true. It's like, I need help, but I want to monitor you and micromanage you. Yeah, that's true. So to have a productive workspace, what did we learn? You have to trust your employees, give them opportunities to do stuff themselves, and gather their feedback and work with that.
Another thing we have learned is you need to have a lot of money. That's true. Rich companies keep people happy, apparently.
Which made sense.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, if they divide up the money, not like Amazon or something.
Oh my god, yeah, that's some sort of evil strategy. Don't be Amazon.
Yeah. Well, those I think there was some enlightening stuff there, especially when it comes to your experiences. I hope everybody learned something.
Yes, everyone, thank you for listening. Please follow us where you can. I know we don't get a lot of listens, but it would be nice if you engage with us a little bit more. And of course, we're going to be back next time with some other very interesting episode. And by the way, this is episode 14, which is crazy because we set our KPI for this year to be 12 episodes and we're already 14. So I'm quite excited for that.
Well, it got a bit fun.
It got more fun than we thought.
Yeah. That's it. I think that's all we have. And peace.
Enjoy. See ya.